session, we will be tackling the water resources and of course the food security here in Egypt. We have seen a lot of problems in the past years on the global level targeting food security, which affected Egypt as well as the other countries all over the world, especially after the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. On the other hand, the Egyptian state has exerted a lot of efforts and had taken numerous steps to boost the strategic needs of commodities and have had a lot of plans ever since 2014 to be taking care of agricultural products and projects, to be investing in water projects or water resources projects. I am honored to be having with us in this session Minister of Supply Ali Al-Musalhi and Minister of Irrigation and Water Resources Hani Suwailam to be focusing and shedding more light over those two files. Welcome to this session. Firstly, we will be watching a short film about supply here in the country. Food is a part of national security for Egypt, especially for the citizens. We wanted to be eradicating those scenes that you are seeing in this film, especially regarding bread. We have had a lot of steps. We have restructured the processes that we go through over at the ministry. We have developed the process of supply and the organization of supply itself here in the country, especially for the lower income brackets. The number of beneficiaries have reached 62 million citizens, and as far it goes to the commodities, 36.1 million different commodities have reached the citizens. As for the bread, we have had more bakeries and more products going from 250 to 270 million bread loaves going to the citizens. About 71 million Egyptians are benefiting from the plans of the Ministry of Supply, as well as increasing the number of silos, as we can see. We have seen the results as the storage amount has reached 233% of its original amount that we have had before. At the same time, we have developed the outlets, and we have increased the outlets to be reaching 1,300 outlets over the past few years. As we are entering the digital age here in the country, we have had a lot of steps and procedures implemented within the Ministry of Supply outlets to be benefiting the citizens and serving the citizens. As we can see, moving and mobile outlets are going all through the country to be reaching the citizens wherever they are. So we have increased the logistical areas to be reaching 14 areas, and we have developed 28 wholesale markets, and all of those markets were connected electronically, as we can see, to be reaching financial inclusion. In 2018, we have tried to be protecting the producers and the consumers at the same time through legislations and laws. We can't stay still when it comes to monopoly, when we see traders who are going through monopolistic procedures in the country. We had to be issuing laws and regulations to be fighting against that. And we are aiming for more achievements, as this is the tale of the nation for the future. Dr. Ali Al-Musalhi, the Minister of Supply, the main slogan of this conference: over the past 9 years, we have had a lot of changes in this file. What has happened over the past 9 years? In the name of God, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, President of Egypt, and the attendants, allow me, before we start, to express what I feel regarding this conference, a tale of a nation, and what has happened over those 2 days. I want to seize the opportunity at the beginning of October to be sending my congratulations to Your Excellency and to the armed forces regarding the 6th of October war victory, the crossing that we have had for the Egyptians from humiliation to dignity. We are on the 2nd day of this historic conference. We have never seen such a transparent and honest conference regarding the statements made. I want to express that this conference between 2014 and until now in 2023 is just another crossing between the policy of neglecting the problems and crossing over to scientifically thinking about how to be solving those problems realistically on the ground. The crossing between the policy of containment of the disease and into the other side of having more solutions for the problems. The crossing from despair to hope. We are all speaking about the same thing. We deserve better than we are having right now. Those were just not words. What we have seen yesterday, footage representing reality in 2014 in Egypt, and what has changed and how things have changed, and what we have nowadays. This, as well as everything that we have seen, translates into this great historic crossing that we are seeing nowadays. And this is an honor for all of us. I will give only one example of the statements that were made. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli monitoring the traffic ongoings in the past. As the JICA once said, that Greater Cairo would have been transformed into a great garage with the congestions that we are having or we have had in the past here in Cairo. So, as another example for the Minister of Agriculture, as the agricultural lands have increased, and without those increases, we wouldn't have been able to be getting wheat. 4 million tons of wheat we are having now, we couldn't have had that. And realistically, last year, 650 million fedans were cultivated in the past year as a replacement for wheat. So this replacement, 650,000 tons of this replacement, we couldn't have had 4 million tons of wheat for this year. These cultivated lands could have decreased. Sugar is very important as well, but this has had a big effect on the food security for us here in Egypt. I want to add something else. I would like to ask myself, and every citizen ask himself or herself, if we hadn't implemented all those projects between 2014 and 2023, each one of us could have imagined Egypt in a way worse place. So we need more development. We need more construction, because Egypt deserves better as the mother of the world. And we return. I'm sorry for those examples, but I wanted to express how I felt regarding the conference, regarding, once again, food security, because it is the most important topic for every state all over the world. Whether it's a wealthy nation or a growing nation, this is a very important topic and the priority for all the states. And everyone speaks about what has happened in the past 3 years regarding the COVID-19. A lot of production lines have ground to a halt. We didn't have any planes all over the world. No harbors were opened. So this has affected the amounts of production and the amounts of products as well of every commodity. After the COVID-19, and after the global economic cycle has just begun to work once again, and the world couldn't understand all those increases, unprecedented increases, and then the war broke out between Russia and Ukraine, which once again affected the products and the production lines all over the world. And despite all of this, President Sisi, you have mentioned to me that before the COVID-19, we needed better strategic storages for the upcoming 6 months. I was surprised. We just had enough for 2 to 3 months. But President Sisi had the vision for the future. So when the Russian-Ukrainian conflict broke out in February, the prices of wheat had increased from $230 to $235 to $520. If we hadn't had those strategic storages, we would have had big shocks, unprecedented shocks, and we could have paid a lot more than we had nowadays. So thank God, in March we didn't import. In April and May and June we didn't import wheat because we had enough storage of it. We began importing in wheat of 2022. So we had a good vision regarding it. Food security depends on 3 pillars. The first one is to be having products. If we don't have the product or the commodity, this would be the first big problem. Number 2, the proximity of the products to the citizens, to be easily accessible for the citizens. And number 3, the power or the availability, the financial strength for the citizen to be attaining those products and commodities. And to be reaching all those 3 steps, we have had a strategy. Even before I became the Minister of Internal Trade in 2017, President Sisi had a plan for the national silos, which is the major project for food security here in the country. Then we have had another infrastructure strategy in 2017 for logistical areas and the trade areas and the distribution lines. Today I will be speaking about the infrastructure and the silos, which is the main part to be storing grains. Before 2014 we have had 1.2 million tons. So usually we had 2 or 2.5 months of storage, but the silos, ever since late President Gamal Abdel Nasser in the 1950s, we have had the same storage amount ever since then, which is 1.2 million tons. So those amounts now could be reaching to 5 months not just 2 or 2.5. We have 32 silos. But the new silos that we are having nowadays are much bigger. They are doubling the size of the old silos. Another new phase will be building 21 new silos by the money allocated from the funding of the World Bank in Toshka, for example, in Farafra, Siwa. With these places are becoming the main areas to be producing and storing wheat in the silos. So we have more silos and bigger ones than the ones we already had. This year we will be adding 750,000 tons this year. Dr. Ali, those 415,000 tons in the new silos, the 100,000 tons of the new administrative capital, are you counting them? I am sorry. I would say I'm speaking about the budget that we already have and we had already agreed upon. President Sisi was so generous as a new silo will be built as a strategic storage, 100,000 tons with an expense